University, yeah, it was fantastic because it's Cattolica University. It's not specified that it's from Milan, but this is the Milan region. Okay, fantastic. Cattolica University Milan, PhD student of Professor Tavian, and you are Xhuljano VUKAJ, easy, just once, not twice VUKAJ, no, one VUKAJ stop. Effect of 6 weeks of interval cycling with or without neuromuscular electronic stimulation on circulating BDNF level in healthy men. Let's go.
So, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here to be allowed to present some preliminary results of our ongoing research. And exercise is well known to improve functional and physical and physical and cognitive functions, with the latter mostly being modulated by the upregulations of, among others, small neutrophils, also known as brain-derived neurotrophic factors, BDNF, which plays a huge pivotal role in the brain health overall, with the neurogenesis, synaptic plasticity, for example, also, and so on. There is an intensity-dependent relationship between exercise and the release in circulating of these small molecules. Recently, there's evidence that demonstrated also that skeletal muscle tissue itself can produce and release brain-derived neurotrophic factor, highlighting even more the importance of this wonderful tissue. Nonetheless, also neuromuscular electrical stimulation has been proved to increase circulating BDNF. So we put them together on this framework, and we wanted to investigate whether exercising, cycling specifically, with or without neuromuscular electrical stimulation, might enhance or modulate somehow the BDNF release in circulation in acute or chronic. So, to do so, we recruited 18 healthy young adult male participants, and we randomized them in 2 groups, a control group and experimental group, and all of them underwent the cardiorespiratory assessment in a standardized laboratory setting. They all underwent the same exercise protocol, which consists in a high interval training of 4 5-minute bouts performed at 60% of the peak power output previously evaluated, interspersed with active recovery of 40% of the peak power output over a period of time of 6 weeks, with a frequency of 2 to 3 times per week, with a total of 14 training sessions. Then, to measure the BDNF, basal blood samples are taken at the first and at the last training sessions at the 4 specific time points before the training, after 15 minutes, 24 hours and 48 hours. Then subsequently, plasma BDNF has been measured by specific ELISA kit. As I said, both groups underwent the same exercise protocol, with the only difference that the experimental group, we added the neuromuscular electrical stimulation with a specific device which was able to deliver this electrical stimulation in synchrony with the voluntary lower limb muscle contraction during the pedaling phases. So, there were no differences between the 2 groups for anthropometric, demographic, and the main functional parameter as peak power output and VO2 max. Turning to results, first we wanted to see if there were any differences between the time points for the plasma BDNF concentration at the first training session, and despite a slight high level here, in both groups there were no significant differences. After 6 weeks of training, only control group shows a higher, significant higher level of concentration of plasma BDNF compared to baseline at post 15 minutes and 24 hours of exercise. Experimental group did not show any statistical significance despite showing a trend, at least, of raise up. Then we wanted to see if there were differences within groups, so at the first compared with the last training sessions, and they both seemed to respond chronically, because after 6 weeks of training, both groups shows a higher plasma BDNF concentration with the same trend, except for the experimental group that displays also a higher basal level, but no significant differences has been founded. And finally, we also checked for the between groups, so at the first and at the last training session, if there were any differences between the two groups in plasma BDNF concentration. And at the beginning, at the first training sessions, the values were almost overlapped, so maybe somehow it reassures us for the randomization. But at the end of the 6 weeks of training, despite the experimental group displayed a higher level of plasma concentration, plasma BDNF concentration at the basal line after 15 minutes of exercise, no significant differences also in this case has been shown. But maybe this is due somehow for a statistical issue, like the lack of statistical significance might be due to the small sample size and the very high inter-individual variability of this specific molecule, which is also reported in literature. Future investigations should also consider, which we are considering, of expanding the time points of getting these blood samples, because we want to better investigate also the kinetic, where the peak of this kinetic might be. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your attention.
If I understood right, you added the neuromuscular stimulation during the cycling exercise. Is this something that is usually done? I always thought that the neuromuscular stimulation would be done on subjects who are doing something else, maybe even sleeping. Is it something that is usually done, or you're the first one to propose this?
Thank you for the question. And yes, it's something that it's already been done, but not with the edge of trying to understand how and why the BDNF might differ or be modulated in this case. And for as long as I know, there are no other studies that provided this kind of stimulation during the pedaling phases in synchrony with the voluntary muscle contractions, and then with the investigation of the BDNF, since it's been recently demonstrated that also the skeletal muscle tissue itself could produce BDNF.
Thank you. Up here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I was wondering if you did a sample size calculation.
Yes, we did a sample size calculations, and actually I don't remember the numbers, I'm really sorry, but it's working work in progress research, so we are still recruiting, and I know that the statistical analysis may be affected by the small sample size as well and the high intervariability. So
Yeah, very quickly, if you have 2 independent groups, you'll probably need like 22 people per group to detect large effects.
if my memory serves me well right now, maybe around 20. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a clarification. What was the control group doing?
The control group was doing the same exercise protocol.
Okay. And so the actual work that each group was performing, was it greater in the exercise plus neuromuscular stimulation, or was it the same as the other group?
Actually, right now I don't have an answer of this question because we also have some other data we are still processing, and hopefully they won't be different, the total work between the 2 groups, because the idea is in the same condition, if the skeletal muscle has been proved to release BDNF with the add of the neuromuscular electrical stimulation, we want to see if this could affect, so that should be the same, hopefully.
Well, what I'm saying is that if the work was the same,
Yeah.
then by adding the neuromuscular stimulation, you would force motor units activated voluntarily to be de-recruited. And so this would not explain, now this would explain why the 2 concentrations were similar. Instead, if the work performed was greater, then yes, should wonder why wasn't BDNF different. But then you need to know where the work was done.
So thank you for your suggestion.
So maybe I got it wrong, but the hypothesis is that the muscle is producing the BDNF, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So why don't
But
you take...
not only the muscle, we are,
Because then would it be easier to take muscle biopsies, and maybe you can also look at transcript levels to increase your sensitivity and
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion. For sure, in the future, with more material and methods availability, we would like to do so. And with the material we have, we are trying to do our best. Yeah, thank you for your suggestion.
Thank you very much.